Hey guys, I'm Goutham Parekh and I'm an Indian national racing champion. And I'm here on this podcast, taking it slow. And I've had a great time being here today. And I would definitely want you to subscribe and like the page if you have loved what you've seen.
It's another Sunday. That means it's time for yet another episode of Taking It Slow. और विशु क्या हालचाल?
क्या हो रहा है यार? यूएस में हो गया, वॉशिंगटन में कैपिटल में घुस गए सारे लोग।
हाँ यार, मतलब मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री लिखी जा रही है हमारे सामने एकदम अभी आंखों के।
हाँ सही में
कभी सोचा नहीं था कि इनफैक्ट मैं ये वंडर कर रहा था अगले साल जो टेक्स्ट बुक्स छपेंगी इनकी उसमें ये सब इंक्लूड होगा क्या हिस्ट्री में?
पता नहीं, अभी तो नहीं, लेकिन 40 साल बाद तो होगा। मतलब जो 2040 में जो बच्चे पढ़ रहे होंगे वो गाली तो दिया करेंगे कि 2020 और 2021 को हिस्ट्री स्टूडेंट्स के यार क्या क्या हो चुका था।
Supposedly 2020 was supposed to be the worst year and 2021 has started on a very positive note.
या इट हैज, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से 2020 से फिर भी बेटर नोट पे स्टार्ट हुआ है। 2020 हम भूल गए हैं, लेकिन इट स्टार्टेड विद रूमर्स ऑफ वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 between Iran and US. And then in February there were Australian fires. सर काफी मस्त चल रहा है। मतलब 2020 से 2021 लाइक मोदी जी इज सेंडिंग आउट अ ट्वीट कि डेमोक्रेसी होनी चाहिए,
डेमोक्रेसी होनी चाहिए। वही मोदी जी जो फ्रांस को बोल रहे हैं, कनाडा को बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे यहाँ जो प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे हैं उसमें तुम इंटरफेयर मत करो, ये हमारा पर्सनल मामला है, वो दुनिया भर को ज्ञान बांट रहे हैं। बढ़िया है भाई, मतलब आयरनी इज डाइंग अ स्लो डेथ एवरी डे।
सही चल रहा है यार, मस्त। मेरी जॉब लग गई यार, मेरी जॉब लग गई।
बधाई हो, बहुत बहुत बधाई हो।
जो लोग सुन रहे होंगे हमारे पॉडकास्ट पिछले 1 सालों से तो वो हर पॉडकास्ट में सुनते होंगे कि बेचारा यूपीएससी की तैयारी कर रहे
होता रहता है
कि मैं यूपीएससी मैंने अपनी जॉब छोड़ दी थी, लेकिन मेरी लगे यार अब जॉब। सही है,
कांग्रेचुलेशंस। अब तू कंट्रीब्यूट कर पाएगा पॉडकास्ट के बजट में।
या वेल लेट्स सी।
अच्छा, हाँ, नाइस। So coming to today's episode, so we've been trying to reach out to people from different professions, from different walks of life, and what different profession than being a motorsport driver, man. So I've been following Formula 1 races for a very, very long time, but I have very little idea of what goes behind making a Formula 1 driver or a Formula 1 car or the motorsport in general for that matter. And today we have the Indian racing champion. We have none other than Goutham Parekh, who will join us very shortly. And hope we have a insightful conversation about a topic not many people know about in detail. मतलब मेरा भी जो info है इस टॉपिक के बारे में, that is gathered from watching Formula 1 and watching Drive to Survive from Netflix. उसके अलावा मुझे भी कुछ खास पता नहीं है इसके बारे में क्या होता है।
हाँ यार, मेरे को तो वो सब भी नहीं पता है। मैं तो पहली बार ही सुनूंगा सारी चीजें। I think most of us who are listening to this हम पहली बार सुन रहे होंगे।
Yes, you will be representing 99% of the audience.
Like I do every time. Like I think most of my questions start with from a layman's perspective and then add a stupid question after that.
So let's hang on to that layman's perspective and let's dive right in, people. Vishu, we have a really, really special guest with us today on the Taking It Slow podcast. We have Goutham Parekh, the F1300 India national champion, also the 2018 runners-up of the F1600 India Racing Championships. Goutham, very, very pleased to have you on the podcast. How are you doing, man?
It's my pleasure, man. Thank you. I'm doing fantastic. I hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, Goutham, as a layman, please tell us something about yourself or tell us something about these races. क्योंकि मैं बिल्कुल ऐसे आ रहा हूँ कि मुझे नहीं पता है कुछ भी।
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इंडिया में बहुत कम लोगों को मोटर स्पोर्ट की फॉर्मूला 1, 2, 3, F1300, 1600 रेसेस की नॉलेज है। हमारे लिसनर्स में से बहुत कम लोग होंगे जिनको पता होगा कि इट इज एक्चुअली अ प्रोफेशनल स्पोर्ट। सो you are going to introduce everybody listening to the podcast to the entire sport of motor racing.
Yeah, I agree, because motorsport is one such sport which is not a mainstream sport, not just in India, but in a lot of places, because the amount of people that follow motorsports, especially in a country like ours with 1.5 population of 1.5 billion, we have a very, very, very small, minuscule percentage of people actually knowing that there is something like this. In fact, in the northern part of the country, I think motorsport has come to light only after the Booth International Circuit came out.
Correct.
But before that, story on the flip side, when you look at the southern part of the country, we've had the racetrack in Chennai for a very, very long time now. It's been 30 plus years. And
okay.
So even I didn't know that. Yeah.
It is 30 plus years. In fact, racing used to happen from a very, very long time at this place called Sholavaram in Chennai. It's an airstrip. You see people of all age groups at the racetrack. Like the category that I drive in, I'm the oldest guy there. Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay.
That's promising, like for the future of the sport for India.
Yeah, the other drivers in my class, they start at like the drivers that drive with me are 14 to 20 something.
Wow.
Don't they need licenses?
And don't they need cars? I mean,
no, for motorsports, you can start early because, in fact, if you want to do something big in motorsports, you have to start really early. You can't wait until you're 18 because if you wait until you're 18, you're not fit for the sport. As in, you'll get too old because it takes a lot of time to get there. If you want to be something really big in motorsports, you should get into karting really early. And when I say early, as young as maybe 7, 8.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how young you would be in karting. And when I say karting, I'm not talking about some, simple go-karting. Yes, that's where people start. But then you have go-karting world championships and things like that. So it starts there, and it's a never-ending process.
If you drill down, go-karting is the simplest or the most basic form of racing.
That is the bare minimum. That is the first stage where anyone would start. Like even I started in go-karting, and when I was in the 11th standard, after this Formula One race, I go to school on Monday, and we have a small discussion among my friends. And back then, it was this time around 2003 and 4 when Michael Schumacher, like you watch Formula One, it's Michael Schumacher.
Yep.
So we were talking about a Formula One race, and there was this guy who was standing behind me, who was my senior. He happened to hear my conversation. He came up to me. He's like, "Are you interested in racing and stuff like that?" I said, "Yes, I am interested." So he's like, "Have you ever been to a racetrack? Do you want to drive a race car?" I said, "You must be joking."
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, because it was pretty shocking. Because he said, "No, my dad has this racing team. Maybe I can take you there."
Wow.
Okay, this is interesting.
Nice.
I said, okay, yeah. Why
And
not?
you were how old back then?
14, yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
14 or something, yeah. So I said, yeah, why not? Let's go. Let's have a look at the racetrack. Because all this while, I had only been to karting tracks, which are pretty small. Very small in comparison to a racetrack.
Absolutely.
And then I land up at the racetrack. And back then, we used to have this car called the Formula Maruti, which is Indian-made Formula car with the Maruti 800 engine. That's why it's called the Formula Maruti.
Okay, nice.
That was the Formula car we used to have. And then we used to have this class where people used to drive their STMs. So this guy takes me in this he takes me in this STM. I'm sitting there, first time in the racetrack, and he drives around the track, and he's also a beginner, okay? He just started racing. Wow, this is something else. I could not believe a car could be driven like that. Because...
And you are in an STM right now?
Yeah, I was in a race prepped STM. Because see, when you look at these cars from the outside, especially in a racetrack, there's a lot of open space. Right? So when there is a lot of open space, everything looks slow and composed on the outside. But when you're actually sitting on the inside, trust me, it is
chaos.
Else. Yeah. So the point being, motorsport has been around in the south of the country for a very, very long time, like super long. So it's not something new, and that's the reason the only two Formula One drivers that we have from the country are from the south. The first one was Naren Karthikeyan, and then we have Karun Chandok. Yes, who is from Chennai. So these are the only two people at the moment. But yes, I'm sure we will have someone from somewhere in India soon. Because there are a lot of young guys who are actually doing very well in Formula 2, Formula 3.
Yeah.
There are
We have
a lot
Jehan Daruwala who just won an F2.
There is Jehan Daruwala who's doing really well. So
like how promising do you think that he is?
He is really good because I've watched his races. He is really nice. In fact, he won a race recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that getting to F1, it is like there are many stages that come before it. So I'd like to know more about what are those stages.
So,
and like
Gautam, you were the runners-up in the F1600 championships that happen in India. Before that, you won the F1300 as well. What are the different stages that exist in India? So what happens beyond India? What is the next stage? Where does Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1 come? Formula 1 is obviously the pinnacle of the sport. So what is the hierarchy? What is the tier system of the entire sport?
Like we know that we begin with go-karting, like karting.
So वो level पे मैं भी कर चुका हूँ. I'll proudly say I'm an amateur racer then. Go-karting मैं भी कर चुका हूँ.
But trust me, if you ever sit in a Rotax cart, it is, you cannot drive that cart. I mean, they just don't give it to anyone unless you have experience.
Obviously, they won't give it to me, of course.
They're like super quick, they're like just zipping around. So the first stage is go-karting.
Karting, yeah.
See, earlier it used to be different, and today things have changed a lot. So back then we used to have karting, we used to have Formula Maruti, plenty of classes. But today, if someone wants to make it to Formula 1, it's pretty straightforward. You start off karting, and once you do professional karting, you win the championship, or maybe you do pretty good in the championship. You can just skip all the other classes down there, and you can straight get into the F1600. Which is the topmost category in the country. And once you win the F1600 championship, you have to go outside the country. That is the logical step. As long as you have the budget, you can find the budget, you can always go do the Formula 4. So again, Formula 4 has, Formula 4, you have to go outside India. You can do the Asian Formula 4. So the logical step would be for someone from India to do the Asian Formula 4 and then head over to Europe, do Formula 4 there. And if you do well there, then you get into Formula 3. And
then 2, then 1.
Then it takes you there. Yeah.
So you were just saying the logical step for someone who has won the Indian F1600 is to do the Formula 4, the Asian Formula 4.
Yeah.
How do you do the Asian Formula 4? I mean, do you get acquired by some company that is already competing there, or does someone spot you, or how does it happen?
See, so what happens is, now let's say you're doing well in the 1600. In fact, since last year, since 2018, we have been having a few rounds of the Formula 4 in India. They've added the Chennai circuit. So what happens is these teams bring their cars all the way. So they travel with their cars. So the championship runs in Malaysia, Thailand, now in India also. So, they're traveling all the time. And so there is this one team. So you get in touch with them and you show them an interest that, yes, I want to do the Formula 4. So then they offer you a budget. So that's how it goes. So in this sport, there is
elaborate,
there is nothing like, okay, you're the champion, so we'll give you a free drive. No, it doesn't work that way. No matter who you are, there is a budget. If you have to drive this car, there is a budget. This is the budget for this car. And it is not, you just cannot get into the car and drive. So before you decide, you need to do testing. There are a lot of things involved, right?
Like what?
Yeah. See, you have to. The budgets are pretty high. Like if you look at India has to be the cheapest country in the world when it comes to motorsports. Cheapest because it is not cheap per se, but it has been subsidized. There are sponsors in the country. Maybe the drivers don't get sponsored directly, but then yes, we do get a lot of subsidy because the tires are sponsored, the engine, and a lot of things like that. And in fact, the tire manufacturers are there. Then we have the motorsport clubs and the federation and all of that. So they're doing a fantastic job at keeping the cost of racing as low as possible.
Goutham, we need a number from you.
Okay, so if you have to do the Indian Championship, which is the cheapest in the country, would put you back by about 7 lakhs. That is the cheapest.
For a race.
One race.
Not for one race. This is for one championship, which is about 4 weekends.
Okay. Like they've one tournament. Yeah, one championship.
One championship is about 4 weekends. So that will put you back by 7 lakhs. And that happens to be the cheapest in the world, I'm guessing. And then after which, if you have to go to Formula 4, F4 Asia, should be what, 30-40 lakhs, something like that.
For a tournament. To participate in a tournament,
Yes, to drive the whole championship. So because what happens is in motorsports, you have to take part in the entire championship if you're looking for the championship, because you cannot just go drive one race, because it's not a one race thing. No?
Yeah.
Every race has points, and in the end there is a drivers' championship.
So the F4 championship should be about 100,000 euros, which is about 90 lakhs.
Okay, I'll take a step back further. They give you a budget. You said the F4 team that has come to India, for example, you have gotten in touch with them. They'll give you a budget of say 7 lakhs. वो 7 lakhs से क्या होता है?
The budget includes the car rental. Okay. Then the cost of running the car, the mechanics.
Maybe it's a security fee, like if you bang up the
car. No, that is extra.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So you're pretty much paying just to drive that car, and everything else is extra. Your hotel, your flights, everything is extra. You're just paying that fee so that you can get into that car and drive it. And if you go crash the car, that is extra. It is not included.
Lovely.
Nice. Yeah,
very encouraging sport.
Yeah, like maybe that's why it's so different from other sports, because here you don't just have to be good at the sport itself. Like you have to be good at it, but there are so many other things that you have to be good at.
Otherwise तो बैट और बॉल उठा के चल दो, एक फुटबॉल उठा के चल दो, टेनिस का रैकेट उठा के बॉल उठा के चल दो, चलो खेल के आते हैं.
So far you just listen to the Asian.
Yeah.
Now after you finish this, you drive maybe 2 years of the Asian Championship, then you land into Europe.
Europe.
There the cost could be anywhere between 3 to 4 times of you have in Asia.
Just to drive the car, I'm reiterating.
Yes.
For one championship.
Yes, just to drive the car. And your testing and all of those things are extra. The more you want to test the car, the more you pay. And for testing, your tires are not included with the championship.
So if you win a championship, are you making money or are you losing money?
Not at this level. You're not making money at this level. See, who makes money? People who make money would be in Formula 1.
Like the top 100, top 50 people in the world.
The top people are the ones who are getting paid a salary, and they get paid for their endorsements. But when it comes to all the other racing drivers around the world, they're pretty much paying out of See,
maybe they are the sponsors.
If you're being smart, you can make money. Now, let's say, for example, you have a budget of say X number of dollars. But if you're smart enough to get sponsorship more than that value, then you could make money. But otherwise, I don't see a way to be making money. Yes, we do have prize money and stuff like that, but we always spend more than the prize money.
So you're eventually just paying to get to a level that you can get spotted through by the Formula 1 people, and they sign you up to a contract.
That's a very, very, very long
That's a pipe dream.
I think 15 minutes earlier, I used to think that golf is a rich person's game. Yeah, my opinion has completely changed now.
This has to be one of the most expensive sports to be in, because otherwise it's not possible to get anywhere close to it, because these things can be insanely expensive.
So given that it is so expensive, you feel India is actually ready for such a sport? हम लोगों ने बुद्ध सर्किट बना तो दिया, बहुत फैनफेयर से हमने उसको इनॉग्रेट भी किया था. इंडिया में काफी सारी फॉर्मूला 1 रेसेस कंडक्ट भी हुई थी, बट शुरू में फैनफेयर भी था. 3 years we had Formula 1 visit India. But do you feel that India is a country that is ready to take up motorsport?
That is the thing, because a lot of the people were saying that the booth circuit happened too early. I am no one to judge that, but what I think is things have changed a lot from when I started to today. Today, there are companies willing to sponsor. See, because every company has got a marketing budget, right?
Correct.
And
JK Tires, Seat, I've seen,
all of them, not just them, even
Michelin is there.
Companies.
Yeah, see, that is the tire companies who are directly involved with the sport. Okay. I'm talking about companies much smaller, okay, who have nothing to do with the sport, but they are willing to sponsor. In fact, at the Madras race track, we are having permanent grandstands happening. In fact, the racetrack in Chennai has changed so much over the years. Like, if someone had to go there 5 years back and go there today, it's a completely different place. It's right there, up with the standards. So we can host races up to Formula 3. In fact, we do. In 2021, I think it is a good time to be in the sport. I think there is a very bright future for the upcoming kids, because sometimes I remember I used to tell my friends at the racetrack, there are a couple of guys, we all have been racing together for a very long time. So we know how it was back then and how it is today. So there are many times when I've told them, I wish I was younger, If I was 15 today, things would have been different. I could focus more, I could do a lot of things. But yeah, it's not for me now. There is the other generation who have come in, and yes, I'm sure they will do fantastic, because companies are willing to sponsor. Imagine if a company is sponsoring a driver, and somehow the driver can arrange. Imagine if you could experience sitting in a racing car, which is a very rare thing, Even if you sit in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something like that, if you see, maximum you're going to sit on the road. I can guarantee you that you will be nowhere close to what a racing car driver can drive, because we know how these things work, because we've done that.
How is it different? Like, how is it different?
Okay, now let's say you're in the booth circuit. Okay. If I put you in one car and tell you drive. See, because you're used to something where you would start braking, anticipating the corner much
turn,
correct, because you're always taught that way. You're taught to respect the traffic.
If you sit with me or any of my other guys from the racetrack, you would be like, brake. Why are you not braking? The corner is here. When are you going to brake? When are you going to brake? So you'll be like, what is this happening? What is this happening? This guy's not braking. How is he going to make the turn? So on the road, what happens is, see, normally when you see a red light, what do? You start braking gently. It's very gentle. And I've seen a lot of people put their car into neutral. No, it doesn't work that way. On the racetrack, it's the opposite. We hit the brakes hard, really hard, and then ease off. Okay, so it's the opposite. So it depends on the corner and the car that I'm driving. I might brake just 50 meters before the turn. And obviously, I'm not braking to slow down the car fully. I just slow down enough to take the corner.
To make the turn,
Like, for example, there are turns in Chennai where I would take the corner at about 140. That would be my corner speed.
This is how it is different. In short,
like if I put someone else in a race car, it is just not possible. I mean,
the speed would be around 20.
60 kilometers per hour. That's it.
Corner पे 60 तू करेगा 15-20 kilometers per hour. वो भी ज़्यादा बोल रहा हूँ मैं.
The lowest corner is probably 70. A U-turn.
I just missed by 10.
U-turn 70.
We call it the hairpin. So that is about 70. So yeah, it's very different, and obviously the speeds vary from car to car. But yes, a racing car driver versus a person who's never driven a car like that, it's going to be night and day, completely.
मैं बस वही रिलेट कर रहा था यार कि 70 की स्पीड पर आप हेयरपिन टर्न ले रहे हो, मेकिंग अ कंप्लीट यू टर्न 70. मैं अगर यहाँ पे वर्ली सीलिंग पे 80 पे चलाता हूँ, मेरा चालान कट जाता है. और आप 70 पे U-turn मार रहे हो, मतलब ठीक है यार, different lives, ठीक है.
So is there any like health wise, do you have to do some preparation for the races, and what is the toll that such races take on your body?
See, motorsport, like again, it is the most misunderstood sport on earth. Okay. See, because when you watch football or basketball or cricket or anything, you're actually seeing the sportsmen running around and doing things like that. But when it comes to motorsports, what do you see? You see
बैठा हुआ ड्राइव कर रहा है, हाँ,
strapped into the car with the seatbelt really tight, and we don't move even centimeter.
Like exactly. And before
All
I knew anything, I used to think that बंदा बैठा हुआ है, but when I got to know, बंदा लेटा ही होता है, तो मतलब और भी easy है.
Almost. So the seat belt that we have, it is a 6-point seat belt. Okay, so we have belts coming from all over the place, and the belt is really tight. It is not like the road car where you have a pre-tensioner where only when you brake hard it pulls you back. No, in a race car it is always tight. Okay, so it's like super tight. You can't move even a centimeter. The only thing which moves is your head, your hands, and your legs. That's it. Your torso is stuck to your seat. During the entire duration of the race, your heart is beating at about, say, 170 beats per minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's how it is.
Okay.
In a country like India, once we are done with the race, we get out of the car, we are drenched in sweat. Completely.
I've heard stories of people losing 5 to 6 kilos during a race.
Yeah, because we are sweating so much, we have a hot engine right behind us. Okay, and sometimes the races happen in the hot afternoon, where the track temperature, the surface temperature is about 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a hot engine right behind us. It gets really, really hot inside. So yeah, and the race suit, again, it's a fireproof suit. We are wearing that suit. Everything is fireproof. Everything that we are wearing is fireproof. So yeah, easily over a weekend or over a long race, like what happens in Formula 1, it's very easy to lose 3 kilos, which is pretty much water weight.
Yeah.
Which will come back once you start eating and drinking fluids. So that's why it's very important to stay hydrated at the racetrack. You'll find a lot of people always carrying a bottle of water, sipping on it all day. Driving a race car is not really about strength. Okay. It's a lot. It takes a lot of toll on your mind and of course on your body. So you need to be strong. You need to have endurance. You need to have a strong mind.
The game is mental.
Yeah.
It is mental. It is mental. It is physical also, because I have seen personally for the very first time. I remember when I drove the Formula 1600 car for the very first time. Everything was hard. You know, the steering wheel was so hard. The brake pedals are so hard. You know, everything. And race cars are really stiff. They're not like your road cars where you have all that cushioning and all that. It's like really stiff. You can feel every little bump on the track. So we drove the first session. In fact, there were some people who couldn't go beyond 3 laps. They had to come back and take a breather because it really is so challenging.
Exhausting.
Yeah. And so then I drove the car that day. I go back home. The next morning I wake up. I can feel every single muscle in my body. Everything is on completely. So it is a challenge to drive these cars. It is not very easy, but then yes, as your fitness improves, as you get used to the car, things get better, things get easy, but it does require a lot of training.
Goutham, you did win the F1300 in 2014. You've been the runner-up in 2018, 2017 as well, if I remember correctly, for the F1600. Why not take the next step? Why not try Europe? Is it the age factor, or is there something else?
I would say it's the age factor. See, when it comes to I'm a person.
Because from a layman's perspective, you were right on the cusp, man. Matlab, you were there. You were right on the cusp to take the next step, the bigger step.
I could have driven the Asian F4. In fact, when it happened here in Chennai, I did get an offer to drive that car. But for some reason, now I've put myself to this thing that okay, you are a hobby driver. You don't really need to. I mean, see, F4 is for people who want to progress, get there to Formula One. But for me, it is like no one's going to stop me if I want to drive the Formula 4. I can drive, but I'm not going to make anything out of it in the sense, see, I'm as old as Lewis Hamilton. He's going to retire, I don't know when, very soon, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm as old as him, almost. Okay.
Right.
So this is a sport where you need to be really young. When you're in your mid-30s, you're already pretty old.
Do you plan to take any prodigy under your wing, like to be involved with the sport?
Hopefully someday.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would love to.
Acha Goutham, I wanted to ask an offbeat question. We've seen the presence of Force India in Formula One.
Yeah.
Earlier through Vijay Mallya, then through Subrata Roy, and then to Khair Bhagwan Malik. When Force India was starting out as a team in Formula One, in the Indian contingent, not just the drivers but the technicians, the engineers, was there a hope, or was there an optimism, so to speak,
enthusiasm, excitement,
that we are being represented in Formula One, so we might have a pathway to Formula One? It might just have gotten a little easier. Was there a sense of optimism?
Yes, I guess people did have this belief that since we have an Indian team, that Formula One could be easier. But you need to understand that Formula One is, it's not a patriotic country thing. It's not really that, because it involves so much of money that each team wants only the best. Just because it's an Indian team and you're an Indian, I would not take it. So it involves a lot of things around it. And in fact, the team was based out of Silverstone in UK. It did give a lot of hopes to a lot of people. They did run a junior program for young drivers. And I think Jihan Daruwala was selected for that. I'm not sure. So yes, they did run a thing like that. But yeah, when it comes to Formula One, it's a lot of money which goes in there to run a team every year. So it is, okay, Indian team, yes, but
good to hear.
It's not really something which people will settle for.
Yeah.
And we did have good drivers when the team was running from India. We had Tarun Sandok, we had Naren Karthikeyan. But probably it's something which beyond all of this, which no one would know why things did not happen. It is a very complex sport. You must have seen the tire changes, the pit stops.
Yeah.
To change those tires for 2 seconds, you know how many people are involved.
Yeah.
Like, and you need the best person on the driver's seat. इतने सारे लोग काम कर रहे हैं.
Not just the driver's seat, the best person monitoring the race, the best
everywhere,
person.
Everywhere. Because see, just being a good driver, having a good driver is not going to do everything for you.
It's just a single piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. If you look at all the drivers in the Formula One teams, all the top drivers, you cannot say that any driver is bad. If you get in Formula One, you are amazing.
Yeah.
So that brings me on really nicely to my next question. There is an age-old saying: "It is not about the car; it is about the driver." Is it actually true? Is it about the driver?
No, it's a complete teamwork. It is a total teamwork. Yes, a good driver can give fantastic results, no doubt. But if you put a great driver in a mediocre car, maybe he'll be there. He'll struggle a bit, but he will be there in the front. But
isn't that what happened with Vettel as well?
Vettel, what happens is Vettel is obviously a fantastic driver, multiple time champion. Sometimes things don't work. Maybe the way the car and the team and the driver, it's like a complete package. Everything has to have that connection. It should all gel well. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's it. So next year we have, sorry, I just keep saying next year all the time. We are already in
2021.
So 2021 we have Vettel in a new team. So it is going to be exciting. Hopefully it's going to be fantastic. Even if you have the best car and the best driver, and if the team doesn't come together at the right time, it's not going to work. Classic example is George Russell this year when he drove the Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. Instead of Lewis Hamilton, when he had to step out.
Yeah, he had an amazing car, great driver. He was leading the race, and for some reason, this goof up happened at the pit stop, and gone, finished.
Have you seen any live crashes, Goutham, like in front of you, bad crashes?
Very, very bad. Yeah, very, very bad. So this was in, I think about 5-6 years back. I was not driving that championship. I was just there to watch my friends race. This was in India. So this was happening at the Coimbatore racetrack. So we have a tower there, it's like we have this bridge and then there is a tower where you have the control center. So me and a few friends were at the tower on top watching the race. So the race starts, and normally the first lap, especially the first lap, is like very heated, everybody's
so congested.
People are looking into the mirror, and more than looking in the front, they're looking in the mirror, because they don't want to let someone pass. So, but in the very first lap, there was a red flag. And for some reason, these guys missed out on seeing the red flag. Yeah, because, the marshal posts are inside, and in the heat of the moment, happened to miss seeing the red flag. And by the time they saw the red flag, the leader, by the time he saw the red flag, he was near the start-finish line. So when he saw that, he braked. And the guy who was second also managed to stop. But the guys who were at the back, they didn't even look in the front. They were busy in the mirrors. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
They were still busy in the mirrors. And on the racetrack, we have two cars stationary, parked. And these guys come on the way, and they just climb over each other, all over the place. So I actually saw these cars flying up about 15-20 feet.
Oh man, nice. It's nice if we take out the human lives out of it, like the visual.
Dude, you are.
But that did a lot of things to the racetrack because that was a one-off thing which doesn't really happen. I've never seen such things happen.
Yeah.
But when that did happen, the safety level of the racetracks improved. What they did was they made sure that no one is going to stand at the pits. We started getting these barricades, like fences and things like that.
Yeah, maybe get a bigger red flag.
Yeah, so the flags are always big. I think now we are getting these LED flags which will flash. But see, that was a very, I don't know, it was a very rare thing when such things happen. These things happen once in a while, but
yeah. Let's not bring that like human injury and lives into it. The crashes are fun to watch on videos.
No, not for me. You have a very gory taste, dude.
It is.
I saw that video from
crashes
Grosjean, and I was like,
no, just the machines, not human lives.
He was climbing out of the fire with his suit on fire.
Yeah, those are not fun to watch.
Anyways, let us not try to end the first podcast on that sore note. To wind up, Goutham, what are or what is your favorite race that you've seen over the last decade or so, or even more?
Favorite race that I've seen or that I've been in?
Both.
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite race that I've ever driven happens to be the last race that I've ever drove, which was in 2018, the season finisher. Yeah, I started 4th on the grid. And I started 4th, and the guy who won the championship started 2nd, I guess. 2nd. So all I needed to win the championship was finish ahead of him. Okay, so which means if I finish first and he finishes second, I'm still the champion. So that is one race which I'll not forget because I had a pretty good start. See, because the start is very important.
Yep.
Okay. So I had a good start. And at turn 3, I make a move on the guy who's running third. And I go into the third position. And at one point, I had to, we were getting into a corner and there was not enough room. So I had to give him room to pass me, so that we don't touch and we don't go up. So I had to give him enough room. And in the process, so within seconds, I have cars passing continuously. From third, I fall all the way to 7th. And that is a very race for me. I need to win that race. So I was like, okay, now I look in the mirror, I just see a few cars and there are so many cars in front of me. Like, what am I going to do now? I don't know from where, what happened to me. The race that I drove that day, it's just the best thing which I've ever done, Even till date, I watch that race video pretty often because I sometimes think, how did I actually drive like this? So that race, I passed almost everyone and I finished second. It's almost impossible to pass so many cars during the
7th
race.
to 2nd.
Yeah, but I managed to go all the way from 7th to 2nd. And if you actually look at the race, it's one of the best races that I've ever driven in my life. I don't know if I can drive like that again because it's in a race car. But yes, I know for a fact that if I drive like that, it has to be my race. No one can catch me.
Yeah.
I was on to something else. I made such dangerous moves, I mean, not dangerous in the sense to me, like not for the person. So I'm at the racetrack, I'm one of those drivers who don't really cause harm to anyone. I'm very clean when I pass. But then on that day, I didn't really have time to wait. Like I can't say that, okay, we'll try next lap.
7th already, huh?
Yeah. So I commit. If I commit, I have to go for it. So I actually drove a brilliant race that day. I will never forget that race ever, because in spite of all that overtaking and all that, I had the fastest lap and I was consistently fast lap after lap, which was pretty amazing. So it's okay. I didn't win that championship that day.
Because the other fellow finished first and you
No, he finished behind me.
Then how did you not win the championship?
No, but still I had to finish first because the difference between first and second is 7 points. So, but the difference between second and third is only 3 points.
3 points.
2 points. Yeah, 18 and 15.
Okay.
So if I finished first and even if you finished second, I would win the championship. But yeah, so that didn't happen. But it was the best race ever.
Goutham, it has been absolutely lovely speaking to you, man. It has been very insightful as well to step behind the wheel, so to speak, through your eyes, and has been absolutely lovely knowing the other world that we might never get to know otherwise. And hope you had a good time speaking to us as well, man. Hope to see you on the track in 2021, this year in 2021.
100%, yeah, I hope 100% I'm going to do it, and I'm not sure how the racing scene is going to be in 21, but yeah, in the future, yes, it's going to be definitely good, and hope to see you for sure if we have a race somewhere in Delhi in the Buddh circuit.
Definitely. Definitely.
So come and maybe we could put you onto a
maybe I can experience being in a racing car, like as a pillion seater.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.